Hello and welcome back to my channel, Jordan Mind, Body, and Soul, where we learn to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul. And as you already know from the title, today I'm going to be diving into the ideology of entrepreneurship versus finding a job in 2024. First, just covering some of like the basics of it all. It's helpful to see the other video is because in the other video, I mentioned how like these jobs, the requirements will be like 30 years of experience, 57 references, $5 an hour. And you're like, what? What? What's that gonna do? So it's important to watch that first. If you haven't, it's okay. But I'm seeing a lot of that. They want like the perfect candidate. And getting into that, segueing into like the perfect candidate, another problem that I'm seeing, even talking to other people in my personal experience, in 2024, I don't know what's going on. It kind of started last year, if not 2 years ago in 2022, where you will go on, no, probably after the pandemic. Yeah. I think once interviews started being virtual, that's when it changed to where you were sent on like 6, 7, not 6 or 7, but really like 3 or 4, 5 or 6 interviews. And then you either don't hear back or you're told no. I mean, honestly, within the past 2 weeks, I'll give you 2 examples. I have one person who was waiting to hear back from, whatever the hiring team person was at that company. And they didn't say anything. They didn't reach out to them. So they initiated contact and they was like, hey, what's going on? Just reaching out to see the status. And the person was like, yeah, so we're not pursuing a candidate right now. And it's like, okay, well, why didn't you say anything? Like, how was this person supposed to know that? They want and expect, like I said, the requirements for us are here. The expectations for us are here, but you aren't given that. I do feel like that's a good way, though, for us as people who may be looking for jobs to weed out the companies that are on that. Because like if you're like that at the gate, then I don't want to get in. Like I don't want to be, I don't know what's over there. I don't want to be over there. And sometimes you don't know, because sometimes the gate is nice. You get in and you're like, oh, hell no. Once you're already inside. But the gate was pretty. So I feel like if they have like a gate that's kind of off-putting, from there you can be like, I don't know. I'm not sure where this is going to go. To be honest, it's a lot like the dating process. That's what it feels like all these interviews and stuff that they're making us go on. We're like, first date, okay, it was cool, it was fun, we had a good time. Second date, oh, okay, I think I like you. Like this could go somewhere. And then after that, like you're going on 2, 3, 4 dates, interviews, right? At this point, you don't know if someone else is more qualified than me. Then are you good at your job? I don't know. The second example is a person who received their onboarding paperwork. I had to ask them again just to clarify. They're like, yes, my onboarding paperwork. They received that onboarding paperwork and then they were ghosted. So they reached back out in the job. They didn't say anything. They haven't heard anything back from them, but they did end up finding another position. So we're really getting the runaround from these jobs. And it's like, we're moving into a time, a day, an age where we're not only looking at how can I work for you, but we're also looking at how can you work for me. And I think that's fair. Other countries have been doing it. Like, I understand that everyone everywhere has pros and cons. I get it. But I think if we're honest with ourselves, we can really take a seat back and look at some of the things that other countries do that work for them, that could work for us. And we're so focused and we're so I gotta work, I gotta fight. And everything's just like in such a mode that if you really take a step back, you'll be like, okay, well, over here they're doing this and it works. Over here we're doing this and it works. It's good. This is good. It's a good thing. but it'll have like a certain title over it. And because of the name of it that they're choosing to use, or the name of it that we want to call it, we're turned off from it without actually looking at how it works and the system, the structure of it all. So that's something we could really fix. Okay, so this video kind of like segues into like my ideas and my journey with entrepreneurship. So the next thing that I wrote down to speak on is Americans are raised to be employees, not thinkers, creators, or entrepreneurs. And that is not a lie. So in this, I kind of took it back to like school and like comparing the school system and structure. And we're really only taught to like perform tasks or to recite information. Like that's why I always like people, like sometimes people get these extravagant, awesome sounding degrees or titles, and they think that they are like above others because of it. But then you ask them a question that's outside of like the textbook, what you read, what you can recite, like a critical question, like just critical thinking, nothing hard. And then they're just like, page 5, chapter 3, sentence 1. And it's like, no. And I swear, I experienced that at my previous job. Like the supervisors were on such a high horse. Like they were so, I'm the supervisor, I'm in charge. And you're like, okay, that's cool. So here's my question. And you get them a question. They're like, did you check your resources? Yeah, so I did. That's why I'm coming to you, because the answers aren't there. So now I'm here. It's got to be in the resources. Okay, so then where is it? Here. And, they'll give you where it's supposed to be. And you're like, yes, I can read. Comprehension is also very good for me. However, that doesn't answer the question. Like, do you understand that there's the question? Yes, there's an answer, and then there's a technicality. This situation has a technicality, right? And that's where the people who are just workers or just, and I don't mean worker in a bad way, I just mean like an employee. Like it takes a certain level of stepping back and critically thinking in order to be innovative, in order to create. Like it takes a level of you seeing a problem or understanding something that's happening and almost like being able to elevate above it or out of it to see, not just to regurgitate or recite information. How much did you store in your head? And I noticed that in school that happened a lot. So like I was saying, those people who get like those extravagant degrees and titles, you're like, okay, so let's talk about something critically outside of what's written on a piece of paper or outside of something you studied, and the conversation is dull or the conversation is lackluster. Like, it's like, why? So in that, I also want to talk about like how the honors courses and the AP courses, just for an example, should really be like, that should be our goal. Like that's where we should put society's critical thinking. Like it, when I look back, AP specifically, yes, the course material and the way, really it was just this is layered, because another problem that we have with our school system is the standardization that they try to create and have isn't culturally inclusive to people who are not your typical average standard white American. So if you get people who speak in Ebonics or whose language is not, or their first language is not English, there's barriers that they have, and it's not a comprehension problem. It's not a intelligence problem. It's a weed you out problem. But that's another video. What I'm trying to say now is that if we would have set the bar for everyone to be thinking on those levels, then that would be what it is. Like there's other countries who are killing us in the school system because our AP classes are their remedial classes. Our AP classes are their entry level classes. And so, I think high school is a really good representation of like what true society really looks like. Because if I think about those people and I think about the classifications, like the honors kids were like the middle class, AP kids were like the high middle class, you know what I'm saying? And then it just it kind of translates into who the people are today in a sense, but not really, not necessarily. But you can see like that hierarchy. And I just say that to say that all we did was like train ourselves to see who is going to be the worker and who's going to be the one that's going to think outside the box. And it started in the school system. I just thought about something that I wanted to include too. It's really offensive with these jobs like offering like $7 an hour in 2024, because they're doing it because they're trying to save their butt, and they know that somebody who needs money, somebody who was like, I need something today, I need money today, I have nothing coming in, I need it today, I'll do it for $5 an hour. They know that there's going to be a person that's willing to do it. So also in that, I say negotiate your wage. So as I start to wrap this up, and I'm segueing, getting closer into the entrepreneurship part of this, it's starting to be more obvious that employers only have their best interests at heart. Not all, because I heard of some employers, like some people just talk about like what's happening at their job or their company, and I'm like, dang, you like where you work is good. Like, it's nice over there. You know, you're looking over the fence, you're like, ooh, it's nice. It's always been the case. I just feel like companies just feel more comfortable making it a little more obvious today. And then for the employee aspect on it, I feel like because we're not spending so much time at one company and we find out like, it ain't working over here, and we leave and we go somewhere else, we're building experiences at other companies. And we're getting a vibe and a taste of what other places offer, right? So then with that, as an employee, that increases your awareness of what can actually be offered, right? Because some companies be like, oh no, we cannot do that. Okay, they can, so that's where I'm going, right? So without having like that undying loyalty to companies, it is allowing us to see that other companies can offer and do offer what we're looking for. You just have to find them. So with even that, and I've seen it happen so far, employers are going to have to start readjusting, negotiating what they're willing to do and offer to keep good people, right? When they notice someone is like in the door, they're there, and they're like, you know what, we're trying to keep you here. They're gonna bend their back to keep the good people there, because the competitor hate they might be looking really good. So I think that's really gonna help with the entire shift. Like if you pay attention, there is like, I keep saying it, but there's like so many shifts happening right now, and so many things are changing all at the same time. And a lot of things that did not work in 2024 and going forward, people are going to be like, this has to work. Like, I can't do this anymore. And you're seeing a lot more. You're seeing way more people quit. You're seeing way more people like speak out or speak up when they feel they're being like placed in uncomfortable or bad situations. And people are being held accountable. Companies, corporations, individuals are being held accountable for not producing situations that are best and ideal for the whole, for the group. And to me, I don't know why like people feel like that's such a horrible thing, but I'm about to get into that. So the last point I wanted to make is entrepreneurship on the rise. And for me, I think this entrepreneur adventure for me, and then also for a lot of people, like so many people have started creating their businesses, especially I think what really launched this was, again, the pandemic. It shook things up. It changed things in a lot of ways on different levels, in different realms. But people started to think about, because they had more time. I was an essential worker at the time. So I was still working, because I worked at a grocery store. So I was still working. But people who weren't working, like they were like, I picked up a new hobby, and they learned new crafts. schools were handing out like free courses. Like a lot of people really use that time to grow and develop themselves, and then also to look at their life and be like, wow, do I really even like anything that I'm doing right now? People were getting divorced. Like, who did I marry? Their kids, they're like, when did school start? Like, it really put things into perspective for us. And it helped, in many ways, it helped a lot of people launch businesses that otherwise would not have been launched. Or to even say, you know what I do at my job, I realize that I can do on my own. And I could survive. May it take a few years before I'm like, really, really doing well, yes, but I can make this work. And that gave people the confidence to say, you know what, I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna give it my all. So because of that, just like how there was the movements, the different labor movements in the 1900s, and even before that, there's been like different labor movements, and then the birth of OSHA and other organizations that work to make sure that your work environment isn't somewhere where you can possibly lose your life. And if you can, what are the guidelines? Like, because some jobs are just really dangerous. But for the most part, like they do their best. They're an example of how ideologies and people spoke up and said something enough to figure out, ooh, this is a problem. So I feel like somewhere in the near future, this time period, the entrepreneurship, it's going to have a different name. They're going to think of something not as clever as I can think of if I give myself time, but they're going to think of something, and it's going to mark probably about a 10 to 15 year period of time to where people felt pretty much like either forced or encouraged to become entrepreneurs so that they can have the success that they want and deserve on their terms. And like I always say, this journey to entrepreneurship, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to document and share this experience, like as I'm learning and growing. I'm trying to figure that out right now, but I'll figure it out. Entrepreneurship, it isn't easier. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's even harder. I'd say it just takes more work. Like if you are going to a job, right? Let's say you're going to work. You're driving to work, you get to work, everything's already set up for you. If you're working at a company, they have their policies and everything in place. When you're on your entrepreneurship journey, or you are an entrepreneur, like you're building all that yourself. You're figuring out all that yourself. So it takes work, and it takes time, and it takes studying, and it takes focusing, and even like sharing your learning information. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's harder. It just takes dedication. And if you're truly dedicated and you truly enjoy what you do, you probably won't have much of a problem. People also, I think, enjoy the ability to do what they truly want, because it's like sometimes even like, so you guys, Legend has a nurse that comes to the house to check on him and make sure everything's okay. Just part of a program that I found. It's actually a really beautiful thing. And even speaking to her, like, it's like every company can have like these aspects or these things that you really, really, really enjoy. But when you learn to do like contract work, or you do your own business, or you tailor it to what you truly want, you have more freedom in how you're able to move and how you're able to present yourself. And I think that's what everybody enjoys about the entrepreneurship journey, one of the many things. It also leads to autonomy and self-expression. I think self-expression is very important because self-expression becomes your brand. Even if you look at it can either be like self-expression or like the groups or organizations or parties you decide to align yourself with. Like, think of the people who are just like athletes, for example. I always use athletes as an example. I think they're really good examples for a lot of stuff. They could just have their talent. So let's say their sport is soccer, right? It could just be soccer and that's it. But when you find the people who align themselves with different groups or organizations, and they speak on different topics, or they work with different groups, or you see them out there constantly feeding the homeless, like they align themselves with a cause, then their impact is so much bigger than just their talent. And I feel like people who are like true entrepreneurs, not just like capitalists who are like, how can I make the most money? But people who are trying to solve a problem and really like help or change the world with their innovation or with their ideologies are people who are really trying to like get down, roll up their sleeves and figure out how I can help. Like, how can I do this? How can I help and change the world? Like, those are the people those are the people who are serious about it. They're dedicated to it. And that's what's missing at a lot of jobs. And then with your entrepreneurship, like, it allows you just to tailor your business, like to figure out who your audience is, to figure out who your crowd is, to figure out who your, customer is, whatever word you want to use. And then you don't have to worry about the small things like locks, like hair discrimination in the workplace. I could do a whole video on that. Or, like just different things that you would have to navigate in a workplace. You can just remove yourself and your business from those rooms. And I think that's powerful, right? Another big benefit would be the flexibility, right? You being able to figure out how or when you want to do it. And even in that, you have to create boundaries. I've talked to a couple of entrepreneurs, and I'm always listening to YouTube videos or podcasts about like the entrepreneurship journey and like how people created a balance for themselves so that they didn't burn themselves out. And because a lot of entrepreneurs are pursuing something they're passionate about, they go hard when they first start and they end up overworking themselves. They get burned out, and then they're either like, oh, I need to go back to, working for someone over here just so that they can have that balance, or, they learn to cut back. Okay, and lastly, I want to get up close and personal when I say this. We as a whole, we as a people, we as a country, we as a world, we as a universe, whatever it is, have to get rid of the crabs in the barrel mentality. Because what's weird to me, it's not weird. I know why people are like that. But what's strange is that people still feel like if someone is doing something, they have to just do it themselves, and they can't like help out. Like, they gatekeep, basically. They can't help out other people who are trying to get to where they're at. Because they feel like if that person gets to where they're at, they want you to be good, but they don't want you to be better than them. And that's just, I can't stand a person like that, because I'm cheering and I'm clapping for everybody. If you're doing something, you're doing it better than me, that's what's up. Then I need to be looking at you like, hey, what you got going over there? But people don't want to do that. They don't want to share. They want to, figure it out. That's not cool. Tribe don't be like that. Y'all not like that. Tribe's not like that. We not like that. They not like us. Over here, yeah, they different. But so even in that, it's like, I honestly and personally believe that everybody can have what they want and everybody would be good. Like, with 7 billion people on planet Earth, that's just 7 billion people on planet Earth. And you don't even need the 7 billion people to support you, right? It just shows you how vast and how much people there are. You can have your own audience. I mean, let's even think about something like the YouTube. You're subscribed to me, maybe, right? Or you'll watch my video, whatever the case may be. But you watch other people's videos. You're subscribed to other channels. Like, you're not just gonna be like, I'm only gonna be subscribed to one person and that's it. Like, no. So then I'm able to eat. That person can eat too. You may like me for my workout videos, right? You may not care about the chat videos. Or it may be vice versa, right? Same thing with somebody else. You may be watching their videos because they talk about hair and they have natural hair. They're a loose natural. I have locks. I've had loose natural hair, so there are previous videos, but right now that's not going to be any of my content, and that's okay. That person can still have their space. if there's a person who has a Black owned business and they have a handbag like the Kayla collection, you guys like how to do that in there? Yes, Black owned business, beautiful bag, right? I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I only want to buy, bags from a Black owned business, handbags, luxury purses from Black owned businesses. If that's going to be the case for me, then I'm looking at all of them. I would love to support her. She lives in my city that I currently live in, so I'm going to support her as much as I can. Anytime I see her, anytime I know she's coming to town, I'm seeing how much money I have to see if I can support her. But I'm going to do that for all of the bags that I like for a Black owned business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, okay, just hers only. No, I'm going to put everybody I can on because we all can win. I can wear her bag and I can wear their bag too. You see what I'm saying? So we get out of the mentality, and I feel like it's heavy in our community, our being the Black community, it's heavy in there where a lot of people will see someone who's ahead or see someone who speaks well. And like, they'll be like, yeah, no, I want her to win, but I don't want her where I'm at, so I'm not supporting. Or they'll see somebody that's pretty, especially women. They'll see somebody that's pretty, like, I want to talk to her, because she competition. How? What? You get what I'm saying? Like, she could be beautiful, and you could be beautiful too. That got off topic. Let me bring it back in. But yes, so all I'm saying is if we get rid of the ideas, I hope y'all can't hear this lawnmower, because there is a patch of grass that's no bigger than an area rug, but they spend like 3 hours mowing it. So I hope you guys don't hear it. But if you can, then sorry. But yes, so all that to say is, tribe, let's just be loving and let's just be supportive of each other. If you want to work at a company, make sure it works for you. Make sure it's somewhere you can enjoy. If you're building your own company, you're building your own brand, do it how you want it. Make sure it works for you. Make sure you enjoy it. It's the same thing. Do whatever you want. Do what works for you. Do what's going to make you happy. But at the end of the day, I think the overall message can be, we all can do it. We all can do whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever it is that you feel like is going to make you happy. We all can do what makes us happy. There is no lack. There is truly no competition but yourself. Like, yeah, you have competitors because you have people who are doing the same thing, but they're not you. And honestly, like, that's the difference. There's been plenty of times. I'll give you this one last example before we go. I was leaving a job, the job that I had before this job that I just quit. So 2 jobs ago. And I was moving, and I did an introduction, like an introduction stretch for someone. And then he was like, you're leaving? No. And the owner of the studio was there, and she was trying to get him to sign on. So she was like, yeah, she's leaving, but they all do the same thing. Like, she was trying to downplay me, like, girl. And then he was like, yeah, but you can't teach personality. Like, they may have the same skill. He said it. He said that. He said you can't teach personality. And so that just goes to show that sometimes getting in the door is because you are you. Like, it is, there could be another person. You could either be looking, like, there's been places and times that I'm like, how me? Because I'm me. Like, you just never know. Like, don't look at other people so much as competition. If anything, see what's working, see what's going on, see what's not working, see what's not going on, and make those adjustments and apply them to you so that you can become your better and best self. Mind, body, and soul. And I took a lot of y'all time and I got off topic, so I'm wrapping it up. Y'all make sure y'all have a great day, and y'all let me know what y'all think, because I feel like if we're honest, a lot of people just aren't happy because they aren't doing what they want. And it's time to just take control, take your power back, do what you want, do what you enjoy, figure it out. I don't have any of this figured out, y'all. I'm figuring it out as I go, and I'm documenting it. Boom. That's how it works. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and make sure you take care of yourself. Again, mind, body, and soul. Have a beautiful day. No. Make it a beautiful day. And I'll see you in the next video.